Right now is one of the toughest times to find a GPU, and we're all trying to do the best we can to extend the life of our GPUs, make it perform bigger, better, faster, and more without breaking the bank and without potentially ruining the card as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Sapphire TRIXX on the Sapphire Radeon Nitro RX 6600 XT. So with TRIXX, we have a whole host of utilities. You can find TRIXX at sapphiretech.com/en/software, and I'll have a link down in the description below. In TRIXX, opening it up, first off, we have all of the numbers on the video card. We have the GPU clock, memory clock, GPU temperature, GPU load, and voltage. These are all live performance meters to tell us what everything is at the moment. GPU temperature being one of the most important because you want your card to be cool and quiet so that it works as best it can. So on the dashboard, opening up TRIXX, we have all of the specs of our video card, GPU, shaders, die size, raster units, and all this information here. We can also save our BIOS if we want to send it to a friend, and then we can also select between the two different V-BIOSes. Coming over to hardware, we have basically the same but a lot more expanded. It's not just 5 different metrics, it's a bunch more and a lot of great information. So then coming over to TRIXX Boost. So while the idea behind TRIXX Boost isn't new, the fact that Sapphire put TRIXX Boost together to make it easy for all of us to get to it without messing up anything is great. So what Sapphire TRIXX Boost allows you to do, it allows you to get in between the resolution. So between 2560 and 1440 and 3840 by 2160, there's a lot of space in between. So you may not be able to hit 4K, but you can hit 2K. 2K runs great. Now when you bump it up to 4K, you can't hit that magical 60 frames per second. You can get so close. If only there were something in between. There's actually a lot in between. And TRIXX lets us do that. So with TRIXX, as I mentioned before, between 4K and 2K, we can reach different resolutions. Like instead of 3840 by 2160, we can hit 3264 by 1836. That's pretty odd. And then of course, we can slide it up and change the resolutions even more. The lower you go here, the better your game's going to perform because it's getting close down to 2K. I find the lowest you should go before you start losing quality is 85. At 85, your quality is still incredibly sharp. Now, with TRIXX Boost, it's not just you're stuck with this. So you can enable Radeon image sharpening, FSR, anything that the Radeon software suite allows you to utilize. You can set it in the software suite and then come into Boost and still use TRIXX Boost along with all that other stuff AMD provides. So definitely you get a huge performance boost. The same goes for 1440p and 1080p as well. So it's pretty awesome. And then once you find your perfect resolution, click apply, and the window might move up over a little bit. But for example, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Far Cry 6 and we're going to run a test benchmark. All right, so starting off, we're going to do a 3840 by 2160 pass. So I can show you the performance out of the box. At 4K on the 6600 XT, I'm actually surprised we received 49 frames per second at a minimum of 25 frames per second. And at max, we almost hit the magical 60, but we just fell shy. Since we did set up that magical middle resolution, we'll come back here under video. And now 3264 by 1836 comes up like we had before. Without TRIXX Boost, that resolution would not have existed. TRIXX Boost allows you to put that resolution not only into Windows, but into games as well. It doesn't work with every single games, but it works with a lot more games than it doesn't. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply changes, and let's go ahead and accept that. So again, we're at 3264 by 1836. So let's give it a test. So the very last one was 74, but it didn't count it here. So we reached an average of 66 frames per second and a minimum of almost double what we had before. We were in maybe 25. Now we're at 41. That's almost double. And then again, a maximum of 73. So 66 frames per second. We hit it. We passed it. We're doing great. So you can see how valuable TRIXX Boost is. So almost alone on that, we can see how valuable TRIXX Boost is, or should I say how valuable TRIXX is. We can overclock the video card without really overclocking it. Now, one thing you may have noticed is the little Sapphire logo on the card. The system is blinking a bunch of other colors, and the Sapphire logo is doing its own thing. It doesn't care what the rest of the system is doing. It's just doing its own thing. That's kind of annoying, right? You want it to match your system. It can. We're going to get back to fan health check in a second, but let's go over to Nitro Glow. As you've noticed, and as I just mentioned, the lights are doing their own thing, but this light is doing its own thing too. So first off, we can change the color speed so that it changes a lot quicker than what's there now. And you can change the brightness to completely off to, gradually on. Runway. Steps before color change, so that makes it a little bit slower, even though there's speed that does the same thing. But then there's brightness as well. There's single color, which isn't really a single color. It'll change to every single color, just, up to you how slow or how fast you want it to change over. So it'll go through all of the colors there. Kind of matches. Then there's rainbow, what we saw before. Then there's serial. Here we can change the color change delay, which is kind of the same as runway. Then there's audio visualization. In my YouTube studio, with audio visualization enabled, I'll click on Westbad. Now you can see how the logo is moving along with the music. It's a pretty awesome way to kind of liven up the mood of your room. Then custom color, we can choose any color we'd like. Hey, it matches, but that's not what we want. Then we can turn it off. Now, the cool part, external source. That lets go of all of the control and passes it on to the RGB connectors. So there are a lot of RGB connections inside of the system. Since I did have 4 lights and then the video card, this is one that I had directly plugged into one of the RGB ports on my motherboard. Since I only had one other one, maybe another one, I had to use this splitter. So this would plug into the motherboard, and then these would plug into other cables and extensions and everything. So again, this just went from pin to pin, and then this goes from the motherboard to the fans and everything else here. So I'll have both of these cables linked up below as well. So now I can open up Armory Crate, and from here, change it to one static color, breathing. Let me go ahead to the application site itself. Breathing or static, and like before, I can switch to whatever color I want. Breathing, same thing. I'll do random just so that you can see all the different colors. Maybe I should do random in here. So going from here to over here. All right, then strobing. Any color you'd like before. Then color cycle. Just cycling through all of the colors. Rainbow. What we were at before, but now this matches. And, we can play with all of the colors here. and then the speed of that rainbow. Starry Night, which is actually kind of cool. Music, kind of like we did before, just come over here. All right, and actually it seems to work a little bit better with Aura Sync, so that's kind of cool. Then we'll come over here, we'll go to Smart. Now this goes by CPU temperature. Green is low, yellow is in the middle, and red is danger. Then we can change it to CPU usage. So green, very little usage, and then as we go around and maybe start doing different things, well, things that might use the GPU more, we'd use it more, and that'll change colors. Then there's adaptive color, which I've never used this one before. So we'll come here, do a print screen, load that screenshot, and then we can choose, I think the way it works is this. Then it'll choose, notice how the memory is a different color. I've never used this one, it's a little bit awkward. Then dark, this just turns everything off, kind of boring. So it's a great way to bring in MSI Mystic Sync, Asus Aura Light, and all the other types of software like that as well. Now, you may have some issues with Gigabyte software. There seems to be a compatibility issue between the two. One blames the other. So either which way, Gigabyte might be the only one that has an issue with that. But anyway, let's move on to the last one. The one a lot of people get scared on, their fans. Now, I had to bump up the ISO a lot on here so that you can actually see the fans. Obviously right now they are off. Since the video card's not doing anything, this does have the 0 dB technology so that when it's not doing anything, it just turns off. So come over here into Fan Health Check. We can see both fans on the video card. They look healthy, but we don't know because they're off. So we click Smart Fan Check. Now you see they're spinning up at max, or going to the very max. It's checking the left fan passed. Now it's checking this right fan, or the second fan, making sure it passes. And that's it. It worked perfectly fine. Now you can see the fans just stopping because there's nothing to do. They're bored. So with TRIXX, I've shown you the dashboard, everything on there to show you the specs, the speed, the temperature, everything on your card. Then I showed you the hardware monitor, basically the same thing as what's on the dashboard, just a lot more granular and a lot more information in there as well. TRIXX Boost, to me, one of the best features out of the TRIXX software suite. It allows you to basically overclock your card safely without actually overclocking your card, so you get that extra level of performance without losing any image quality. Mind you, if you go below 85, you might lose a little bit, and it allows you to use all of the features AMD has in their software as well. So that's pretty awesome because you not only get the boost from that, but you get the boost from AMD as well. So you probably get a lot more than I did in the software, and I wasn't using any of the AMD stuff because I wanted to give all that performance to you when you give it a try. Fan Health Check is also pretty awesome because I've seen a lot of you freak out at that 0 dB technology thing that my fans aren't spinning, what's going on? Well, typically they have to reach about 60 degrees before they kick in. My house is always cool. Right now it's actually 62 degrees, so it's very cool. The ambient temperature is 62. Then with all the fans going in there, it's probably a little bit cooler. And since the video card isn't doing anything, it's a lot bit cooler. So that is another awesome thing because now you know if your fan is dead and you can get it replaced quickly at Sapphire. And then Nitro Glow, because a lot of you may not actually have known that that little light can change. A lot of you actually can't do anything with it, I'll just deal with it. So you can either change it through Nitro Glow or switch it to external and use your software's RGB or your motherboard's RGB software to control everything there. So Sapphire TRIXX to me is a great piece of software for so many reasons. So let me know if this video has helped you out. I know it's helped out on my other videos a lot of people, so I'm hoping I can help you out as well. And especially since the 6600 XT, while it is a great card, it's not the highest end card. You can get a lot more performance out of it now. This is Iggy with ThisBytesForYou, showing you all of the cool features inside of TRIXX. Iggy with ThisBytesForYou out. See you guys.